With building the new building, we wanted to build it craft as well, to the point where we went and got trees from Lodgepole, and Seth went out and bought a lumber mill and learned how to run this thing and set it up on his property. We're milling all of the beams, all of the trusses, every piece of lumber except the stuff that has to be engineered for the new building. So I'm gonna go learn how to run a sawmill with Seth today. So your setup here doesn't provide you much shelter from the elements. You have your tent frame up, but no tarp over top.
It's great lighting though.
I suppose. So you do this all year long?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
And how long ago did you pick up this little mill?
About a year and a half ago now.
Yeah. And where did it come from?
It comes out of a company, Norwood Sawmills, out of Ontario.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so locally, well, not locally made, but
Canadian made at least, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And had you ever run something like this before, or did you just learn by trial and error, or what?
You know, I've seen them run and always wanted one, so I figured I'd pick one up, and it came in 100 boxes and 10 times as many bolts.
I had to put it all together. The other thing that's cool about this, you know, we pride ourselves in crafting everything from scratch. So with you and Jordan building this new building, this is as crafty as it gets with construction.
This is going to be the main supplier of our lumber for the distillery project.
So where are these logs actually coming from, like the raw logs?
So some of them from this property, some of the poplar and some of the birch that I have cut for show pieces has come from here. A lot of the spruce and pine is coming from private lots out by Cynthia and Genesee area.
When we talk about building the new distillery, are you going to be milling every piece of lumber for it, or just the big main beams, or what's the general plan that you and Jordan have right now?
The plan is to be milling as much as we possibly can, within reason. Some of the stuff has to be certified, so that has
for
to
engineering,
be engineered approved, and this can be engineered approved. They just have to stamp the trusses and do all that, and so that's fine.
There's a whole process that goes into that according to building code. That makes sense. Yeah.
Sure. A lot of this stuff has been down for 2 to 3 years now. Definitely makes it a little bit harder to cut, but you'll eliminate a lot of that shrinking process.
Do you get into some of them and find out that you don't have a good tree or a good log?
Yeah, and that's the most disappointing part of this log. It takes a lot of time to plan and prep and lay out the log so you're not wasting any. And sometimes it's that final couple cuts that you need and you blow through a rotten spot. And so the whole thing is out
no
the
good.
door.
Oh, yeah. Frustrating. Yes, absolutely. When we were doing the chainsaw carving, Ryan and I we would get into a log sometimes and find out that there was a rotten spot in the middle of it. And that's super frustrating too. You know, you've started to bring your general shape of your carving together and find out you've just spent 3 or 4 hours working and it's all for nothing. So I can relate to your frustration with having a rotten log in the center. Do you ever end up with parts that are maybe too big to fit into your mill here, like big fat stump ends on these logs?
Yeah, some of the stuff, if it does have a huge flare, either I have to cut it off and waste a lot of that character.
Yeah.
Or I mean, some of these logs coming in are too big for the mill.
I'm sure Ryan would take them. He's carving like a madman, so.
For sure, I'll hook him up.
All right. I told you Seth was a multi-talented guy, so one of the places he did some electrical work was a hops farm not too far from here. And he learned how they grew their hops, and he did some here on his own place. So maybe we'll get some of this harvested. We'll see if Angus will use this hops in the birch beer. So numbers are important in distilling and in cutting milling. It's also numbers are important in history. And we're going to visit the Waldorf Hotel in Leduc. It's the most historic building in Leduc on Main Street, actually. So today we're at the historic Waldorf Pub in Leduc on Main Street, here with Samantha Wood. She's the manager here. Samantha, tell people at home a little bit about the history of the Waldorf and all the new renovations you've done and kind of what things have been like through COVID for you guys coming out of COVID now.
Well, this bar has been around since 1948, so it makes it a historical building, which is the appeal that everybody likes when they come to drink here. There have been renovations because it was under fire, so...
I didn't know about the fire.
Yeah, so
wow.
The backsplash and everything is new, so we modernized it a little bit, but people don't want us to modernize it too much.
Absolutely.
Because they want that old feel Hot
But from the
Texas.
outside, it doesn't look modern. It still looks like from the 40s.
Yeah,
but when you
like-
walk inside, it's pretty
Yeah,
nice.
it looks like you can just ride your horse up and put it on the.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We
and
still have the post outside.
the
so-
hitching post.
Yeah.
Very cool. Isn't it?
Yeah, so it's part of the appeal of the Waldorf. It was really busy before COVID, and it's been a struggle while COVID hit. But we all did the best we could and stuck and did whatever we could to get through it. And now we're excited that things are opening back up and we can start having events like this.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a great way to introduce the Waldorf and let everyone know that this is a really fun, family-orientated. Everyone treats everyone with kindness and respect, and they want to come here and have a lot of fun and great drinks to drink.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
thanks for having us. We're going to play some music tonight.
I'm
and
excited.
Maybe we'll have some people that haven't been to the Waldorf before come here
Yeah.
and experience it.
That's
So,
exciting.
Absolutely.
I look forward to that.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I talked the Boys and Gentlemen's League into coming with me and playing for a night at the Waldorf. And little pubs and bars like that, little community pubs, are really the heartblood of our business. And during COVID, they really got beat down a lot. So it's nice to see that people are getting back out again and supporting these small local businesses.
All right, Jeff, I'm done singing, man.
Well, I'm used to doing math on figuring out alcohol percentages and dilution rates and things like that, mash volumes. There's a lot of math that's involved with figuring out how to get as much timber as possible out of one log.
So these 2x12s for the distillery, what part of the distillery? Is that floor joists or roof trusses, or what's that going to
A lot of this
be?
is going to be turned into roof trusses. So it's going to be a quad laminated, custom built roof truss.
Okay, yeah.
And then a lot of it will be floor joists as well and purlins. So in between all the roof trusses, then we'll set all the purlins and
Yep.
and then the decking goes on top. So basically we're after a 12-inch, they call them a cant, is what we start with. Kind of play it by ear too as you start cutting, because I can't totally tell down the log.
How much it
gets really
tapers?
skinny,
Yeah,
and
okay.
then I've got to take another slab off of it to get everything square so that
Yeah.
we've got some nice lumber.
Gotcha.
And then we can probably run another, maybe get a 2x12 out of that one, and then maybe a couple windboards out of there, couple windboards out of there.
So is it exactly 2 you're cutting, or you go 2 1/4, or 1 7/8? Yeah, I know when I go to a lumber retailer and I buy a 2x4, it's not 2x4.
No,
Like,
that's
are we
right.
making true 2x4s like they
making
used to back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
True-
pretty cool.
True rough cut dimensions here.
Very cool.
And we do overcut a little bit because it doesn't matter how dry it is in log form. Every time you open it up, there is a little bit of shrinkage.
yeah.
So we've allowed for that. Mostly you'll get your shrinkage this way instead of the thickness.
Okay.
You won't lose a lot in the thickness. You lose it
In the width.
and the width.
Yeah. I'm feeling kind of useless here.
It's okay. That's how I.
I feel useless. I don't know what to do. You're saying words I don't understand.
You can set these mills up pretty much from complete manual to complete automated.
Okay.
And I can stand here with little push buttons and
It'll just do it itself.
everything. Yeah. And it's all
Yeah.
about this. The more lumber I cut, the more I add on.
Yeah, fair
So-
enough. It's kind of cool to have it in your hand as control of it.
Yeah,
For the still, we could put an automated controller on the chilling water and the condenser water and things like that, but we like having the hand feel to it. We think there's a little more of an art to it, doing it yourself. So
Little more
probably
of
the
an-
same with
yeah,
this.
a little more of an art, and then I'm actually paying attention. I can feel when I hit a hard part of the lumber, or I can feel when it might be rotten. It just completely
I
runs through,
see.
and then I can, okay, I'm already thinking on the next step. Set it up at our original line that I've drawn there.
Yeah.
That's the width that we're after. I can set my scales. That's the nice thing about these scales is it allows for the thickness. The blade is 1/8 thick. That's what it takes out as sawdust every time. So I just set my set my scale mark there. And then essentially I can just run up to my 8th scale is my 2-inch. So that gives me my 2-inch board cut.
Yep.
So that gives me my board cut plus my saw blade width, and then I can go cut. So now I'm up to there, and then after that, then I just run up my.
So a big part of this is setting your deck up level then.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's huge with this.
And in the spring and in the fall, when you start getting the frost and you start losing the frost, I gotta come out and just keep
Readjust
everything
it.
tweaked and
Yep.
readjust. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we'll take, this is the first cut. That goes to one pile.
Yeah.
Guys are still into that too. They use it as rough siding and rough building material. Then we'll take a barn slab or a wind slab off of it, and then we'll take our 2x off.
Yep. No waste. I love it.
So the way that these blades work is one is straight, one is right, and one is left.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so a blade set, you run it through here, and it's got a little.
Oh, I can
dial
see it by
indicator.
looking down straight on it. I see that left, right. Yeah. Seth, thanks for everything today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get out of here. I'm surprised you still have any trees standing around here. They're not all going into your mill. It's mostly poplar on your property, right?
Yeah, poplar and then birch.
Oh, it's almost time to start thinking about tapping some birch trees here.
Yeah.
We're mid-February now. When's this apple gonna start running?
Well, if this weather continues, it's going to be any day, but realistically, it's about end of April, beginning of May.
All right.
Yeah,
Let us know when it's time.
for sure.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
What we ended up doing there was we ended up pulling a blank out of the bottom of the mash tun. We've got an open pipe on the bottom. It's a design flaw with this pot. So we created a blank that goes over the hole so no grain gets into the pipe and everything gets cooked that way. So when we start to chill it and run it through the chiller stand, we have to pull the blank out with that hook. First turn off the agitator motor, obviously. Pull out the blank, open the bottom, open up the system, turn on the pump, and it starts circulating the mash through the chiller stand, and we turn on cold water. So hot mash is going in the top, cooler mash is coming out the bottom, cold water is going in the bottom, and coming out the top really hot. So the heat from the mash gets transferred to the water, cooling the mash down. We'll circulate it through this system for a few hours until we're down to 34 degrees Celsius and we're ready to pitch our yeast. So that's our chilling system. So this here is a rye floor malt. So Jeff and I floor malted our own rye grain a couple years back, spread it on the floor about 4 to 6 inches high with 2 feet wide. Every 10 hours we have to come back to the distillery, turn it all over, spray it down with a mist again, and we germinated it, malted it out. We actually shoveled it in and did a green malt mash, so it was still wet. We didn't dry it back down. Made a whiskey out of it. I put it in one of our small 10-gallon barrels, and we put it up high in the warehouse where it's really warm. Unfortunately, we did lose a lot of the content out of the barrel. However, it went in the barrel at 63%, and it came out at 81%. So instead of the alcohol evaporating out of the barrel, we actually lost water instead. So it made for a really, really dark, nice, smooth tasting 81% floor malted rye whiskey. I've got another 53-gallon barrel. I can't wait to crack it open and see what the heck comes out of that one. Cheers.
What are you working on? Canning margaritas or clean up your mess?
Just clean it.
Oh, this isn't very photo worthy right now.
That's why I was cleaning.
So Angus does all the canning for us. You know, normally he's canning his own beer, but he cans the Cacao Nut Gin Tea coolers. He's canning the Caesars for us and the margaritas, all on this little 2-can filler, which is a lot of work, but thank you for doing it. And then we do one more thing that I'm not sure many people are doing. Angus built a pasteurizer for us, actually. So if you've got residual sugars in a can and they're sitting on a shelf, you can get secondary fermentation, which creates carbon dioxide, which makes stuff swell and eventually go boom, a big boom. So this is a lot more equipment than we started with here. So you started originally with those 3 little pots. How big were they? 100 liters? 50 liters?
50 gallon.
50 gallon. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it would do 120 liter batches.
So you basically make 2 kegs a day if you did a batch a day. Yeah. And now you've got substantially more than that. So
Yes.
What do you got? 7,000 liters worth of fermentation vessels here?
Leave us over there. Yeah, about that.
Is the pale ale still the best seller?
It's kind of a toss-up between that and the red.
And the red ale? That's my favorite, the red ale, you know that. And you got a Pilsner now. What else have you got?
The dark IPA,
Yeah.
and soon to be a porter. That's
Oh, really?
next coming up.
Absolutely.
It's in the fermenter.
I'm still waiting for my Dunkel. You know how much I like Dunkels.
Eventually.
All right. We're finally going to be tipping up walls today. The building is starting to take shape. You know, I've had this vision in my head for almost 5 years of what I wanted this to look like, and to see it actually coming is so exciting. The Blair boys think I'm crazy because I hired them to build this building, and I'm over there all the time, which thankfully they let me do that, but I want to help. I want to swing hammers. I want to help pour foundations. I want to learn how to run the sawmill. I want to help drywall and paint and put up tiles and things like that. And you know what? We're going to drag some of the other staff over there to help too. I want everybody to really feel like they're involved in building this thing from the ground up.
What stage are we at today? Throwing up some back walls today. We got everything pre-assembled and ready to go, so we'll fire everything up. We're not too windy, it's a little breezy. Yeah, we're good for today, for now. Right on. Next thing after the walls, the roof goes on, right? Front walls and then roof. Yeah, we build some trusses and swing them up.
The gas pedals hit hard now.
Yeah, we got a window.
So,
no rain.
Fred and Kathy, when you guys come back next time, you'll be able to sit in the tasting room and have a drink here, I think.
Can't wait.
Right on.
So I'm here with Devin Stout, the Nisku Fire Department Chief, is that correct?
Fire prevention.
Fire Prevention Officer. Thank you, Devin. So he's coming to do a site inspection over here and brought some of the Nisku Leduc Fire crew over to see the new building. It's pretty wet today. I don't think it's going to catch on fire. But it's good to have you guys helping us consult to make sure we have our firewalls in place and all our fire prevention in place during the construction phase. Hey Sean, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
Good. Are you impressed that I'm up on this roof?
Yeah, because
You know how much I like heights.
over 3 feet.
I usually don't like to be higher than 4 feet off the ground.
It's not a short joke.
Yeah, not a short joke. So you guys are gonna start working on finishing up the grain elevator tomorrow?
Hopefully.
Yeah. I hate heights. Crazy. The view is nice, I'm not gonna lie.
So this will be about the top of your grain elevators where you're standing. Once we get the next 2 levels.
About 75 feet up.
You're about 55 anyway.
We'll be able to see it from the highway, no doubt whatsoever, from Airport Road. God, what a view of the lake. It's just beautiful. Right on. Can't wait.
Your hidden poker room is 200 square feet bigger than the first house I lived in. And I raised 2 kids in that house.
How many square feet is it up here?
This is just shy of 1,000 square feet.
No kidding. Very cool.
Pretty awesome.
Canola's ripening up. And the building's coming together. Working on a Saturday, Jordan.
Working all weekend.
Making up for the rainy days, I assume.
Making up for the month of rain we lost. So.
Bet.
She's a little windy, but we had extra burgers at lunch, so that's weighing Sean down on the roof now.
Perfect.
Another couple walls and we'll be done the elevator.
That's awesome. And then on to the tasting room.
Then on to the tasting room.
It looks like we got a couple chefs lined up, so I got lots to tell you about.
Well, that'll be good. Can't wait. Okay.
Roof's done.
Roof's done.
Happy day.
It was a long day in the sun.
No kidding.
We got it. The wind cooperated. It was a good day.
Seth's had it, he's leaving.
Yeah. I started off making him mad this morning, but he works harder when he's mad.
Junior doesn't.
No, he works hard all the time.
Oh, and then the cistern's got to go in. It'll be fun. Hopefully don't drop it.